Hey, welcome to That's Good Broncos podcast. I'm your sexy host, Brandon Perna, here with your masculine co-host, Will Keys. Neither one of us have ever been accused of winning a bar fight. Can't say the same for Aaron Donald. Broncos are visiting Ohio State's Pro Day for the second time, and there's some NFLPA Players Union voluntary workout news will help me learn about today, because I really don't know what the hell is happening. But today's podcast brought to you by Draftkings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. I think that's their new jingle. Use code DNVR when you sign up to take advantage of their can't-miss offers. And if you want, you can always check out my coffee company, benchwarmerbrew.com. Not misleading. The only thing you can buy there is coffee until
show them the shirt too.
Until we start selling these bad boys.
That's a nice shirt. I might need one of those.
They're not for sale yet. A fan designed this, so pretty cool. I think I did a test. I'm giving it the work through, right now, and making sure it's of quality. I think we'll have different colors. So if you kind of want to get your team at some point, that's sort of the plan. I'll get Will one. We have to find you your college shirt. We haven't.
It's true.
We got the $20 in super chats, so we got to get you the college shirt. I was thinking, I saw the Connor Ass Alley jerseys, and just getting an Ass Alley jersey might be, I might just pay the extra money to make that happen.
Yeah. No, I like that. I actually live pretty close to an alley, and it does smell like ass a lot of the time. I think people are taking shits there. But yeah, I think that's appropriate.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say
was Ass Alley your favorite of the names this year?
Yeah, and it's not even a name I can do until next year. I got to drop. Right. I finished the defensive player's name episode. The first one, I always get so excited for it, and then it just did not do well. It was like my worst performing video, and it's starting to climb up there a little bit. But it's weird because a lot of people ask about the draft names video, but then when I do them, it's like I forget every year that they're very niche within our own thing. Right. So the defense will be coming up. I like the Ass Alley. I kind of had to cut to DiCaprio Bottle because I think it's Boodle. It's Bootle. And I'm like, oh, my illiteracy strikes again. I left it in, but I didn't. I had like a whole bit that I dropped because I can't fucking read.
DiCaprio Bottle would have been great. I think DiCaprio Boodle is almost equally as good.
Yeah, but you gotta have jokes for Boodle.
Yeah. You can't win them all. I think those videos are they have a cult following.
Yeah, maybe.
Definitely. I think that's what it is.
I think we just enjoyed doing them more than anything.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's one for us.
Yeah, the first ones were great in terms of viewership. But the people we really have to blame are everybody watching.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this or listening to this, pull out the closest mirror or move to the closest mirror.
Take it long
and look yourself in the eye and wonder why you haven't watched either of those videos. And if you have, why haven't you watched it more than once or more than twice? I can keep going, but I don't want to. You get the idea. Anyway, all right, we got plenty to talk about. So let's start with the OTA crap. Basically, the Broncos were the first team to announce that they would not be participating as a team. They would not be participating in voluntary OTAs next week. So the NFLPA actually released a statement on behalf of the Broncos. I'll read some of it. cutting out a little bit of the fat on it. With offseason programs starting in less than a week and without adequate protocols in place in order for us players to return safely, we will be exercising our right to not participate in voluntary offseason workouts. COVID-19 remains a serious threat to our families and to our communities, and it makes no sense for us as players to put ourselves at risk during this dead period. Positivity rates in our city are higher than they were at this time last year, and we know players have been infected at club facilities in recent weeks. So that explains why they're not showing up to voluntary OTAs next week. This is basically anytime you talk about players versus owners or voluntary anything, it's going to be kind of polarizing.
Right.
Which side, if you had to pick a side, and that's kind of hard to do sometimes, where do you come down on this?
For this one, for this time of year, players, because I don't really give a shit what a team does in April. Now, I mean, that's tough for Broncos fans because our biggest crutch this season for Drew Lock was saying, he didn't get an offseason with Pat Shurmur. So you, like, as a fan, you want to be the guy saying, like, yeah, they need every rep. They need to be working this offseason. It's Drew Lock or go home time. That's not the right phrase, but you know what I'm saying.
Drew Lock or bust.
Yeah. The voluntary workouts have always been weird to me because they're called voluntary workouts, but it's kind of a known thing that everybody has to show up unless you're like a veteran on the team that's been there like the whole time. And you kind of get like that pass. Like Von Miller at this point, if he wasn't coming off an injury last season, he could be like the guy saying, no, I'm going to be working out in San Francisco with my special trainer again in April. I'll be there for the mandatory ones. And the team would probably be like, that's okay. And I think the big thing for these is for second year guys. You would say rookies, but this is happening before the draft. So it doesn't even make sense for your fucking rookies. And that's like really why I don't care about it. And I think that last little line where they said players have tested positive from being at team facilities recently.
Right.
I think that gives them some substantial sort of argument until like everybody's vaccinated or whatever. And it's kind of funny that it's the off season and we're not getting the daily reports on who has a positive COVID test anymore. They just kind of stopped now that the season's over. But mostly what I saw when I saw Brandon McManus kind of defending the players on Twitter about this was like, whatever the players want to do for this month, go for it. They just gave up they have to play an extra game in the season now. They can have this tiny victory if that's what they need at this moment.
Yeah, when you put it like that, it's kind of fair because they are kind of getting railroaded by the extra game. I will throw in the fact that I stopped reading the statement right before they said, despite having a completely virtual offseason last year, the quality of play across the NFL was better than ever by almost every measure. Do you agree with that?
No, it was about the same.
I didn't notice better play. I did notice more injuries, though, especially early on.
Noticed a shit ton of injuries to the 49ers and the Broncos between the first week and the last week of September. Bunch of knee injuries. I would like to know if there's like a study about like ligament injuries. Because to me, it seems like I don't know, like if you overwork ligaments, that's when they get injured. But if you're taking too much time off before getting them, I don't know, warmed up properly, it just seemed like a lot of ACLs were tearing.
Right.
Speaking of which, RIP Jamal Murray's knee. Haven't been able to watch a lot of Nuggets, just been following their dominance through Twitter updates and Jokic stats where Jokic is in the corner alone in an elite sort of stat graph while everybody else is kind of in the mix. But that sucks. I was getting excited to figure out ways to watch Nuggets playoff basketball. And then, not that they won't get a chance now, but
they'll still be there. They can win a series.
I'll say it like, yeah, I mean, they're
Maybe.
good. He's just such a key part. And I heard them talking about the injury on the radio before they knew it was an ACL. And they're like trying to be positive. Like maybe it was a hyperextension. There's something that's really painful immediately. I was like, oh, okay. And then I got home and I went on Twitter and I watched the clip. I was like, no, he fucking he tore his knee. Like I've seen that reaction so many times by athletes. Like you just know when it's bad. And that was confirmed.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anytime you're getting helped off the field or the court and you're not putting pressure on one leg, bad sign.
Anytime you're starting to grab for the knee before you're even done falling to the ground, bad sign.
Yeah, because you can't fake that. That's just your brain reacting.
Yeah. You're willing to give up maybe smashing other parts of your body because your knee hurt so bad.
Yeah. They did get Aaron Gordon, and that helps at this point. And there's such a thing as the Ewing theory. If people don't know what that is, in basketball, your team gets better after your best player gets hurt. But I don't know if anybody's actually like won a championship after that.
Yeah, I don't either.
Anyway, yeah, we have football stuff to get to.
The Ewing theory. You bring that up maybe once a month.
Also, once quarterly.
It's a quarterly requirement.
I had to a lot last season to keep myself sane with all the injuries.
Yeah.
And it turned out not to be true. So basically with the OTA stuff, the Broncos were the first. Lions after that said they're going to do the same. Seahawks and Bucks, unless I've missed anything recently. The Buccaneers thing is bullshit because they're all just meeting at Tom Brady's house anyway.
Yeah.
Or in a park by Tom Brady's house.
We're going to meet at Tom Brady's house, and then Alex Guerrero is going to stretch all of their legs and hamstrings and knees so none of them ever get hurt again. I don't know how he does it. We know it's black magic, but it works. Yeah, I don't care. It's like April. When's into May? Isn't that like the first mandatory shit, or June or something?
Yeah, June you get mini camps. I think May you get rookie camp. Right?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. Rookie and like tryout players.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably when it starts to matter. Because there were no OTAs or there were no mini camps last year.
No.
Yeah, and there's no here's the thing too is they have the same head coach. They have the same offensive coordinator, same defensive coordinator.
Yeah. There's some continuity.
There's not a ton of familiarity that needs to get worked out at this point, I think. Although if you gave me the choice, I'd rather have them all be there and try to use this time. Yeah,
I mean, when your team
in terms of performance
has had a losing record, a little bit, you'll take any extra practices you can get.
Right.
I was getting really confused by it on Twitter because Mike Kliss just kept tweeting out fucking dinner and lunch menus for Broncos players in relation to this.
A weird dude. He's such a weird guy.
I didn't get what his
I don't know what his point was either.
Players don't mind showing up for the free food for workouts, but now that they have to come in, I don't know what it
Right.
I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole. But anyway.
Yeah, it really didn't make a ton of sense to me, but he's a very cryptic individual. I'll just say that.
Yeah. So are the Falcons considering a QB, Will, at number 4?
Wow. You nailed the order on the rundown perfectly. So we do know that the Broncos showed up to the OSU second pro day to watch cornerback Sean Wade. And then there's also a quarterback named Justin Fields who was there, but kind of incidental. Are you left-handed now?
Yep. I'm ambidextrous.
Nice.
I'm ambidextrous.
When are we going to get the first ambidextrous quarterback? And don't say Patrick Mahomes.
That would be sick.
That'd be tough to defend, I think.
Yeah, no blindside.
Slightly. Oh, that's true. Yeah, you just like change based on who your better offensive tackle is.
Equally deadly on either rollout sides.
It's like Jake Plummer.
I know what if I ever have a son, I know what I'm training him to do.
Football, both hands at the same time.
Dumbest drill in sports. This kid can throw 2 footballs at the same time.
Jake Plummer was so good at rolling out left and throwing.
Maybe the best.
Deep. One of the best. Yeah, he's truly underrated. I wish we could put him in one of today's offenses. I wish we could put him on the 49ers right now in his prime.
Well, that's an interesting thing somebody mentioned about like Kyle Shanahan and his system and people thinking like Justin Fields would be a great fit because of his athleticism and his mobility. And they're like, he's basically succeeded in that system with not mobile quarterbacks. So like Matt Ryan had the most success running it. Jimmy Garoppolo maybe kind of sneaky mobile.
He's not going to run past anybody.
And when he does, he tears his ACL.
Right.
But I was like, oh yeah, that's true. But I think, and like the guy he wants or he really likes is Kirk Cousins, right? You don't think of Cousins as a mobile guy, maybe a guy who can do your bootlegs, but so maybe there's some truth to that. But I think like if he had the opportunity to have an athletic quarterback, his offensive scheme would work a little bit better. And I think that's the more natural fit there. Just because he hasn't had that doesn't mean that's not the type of guy you want running it, right?
Right. That makes sense.
Just an argument I saw at some point. I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of true.
Yeah. I don't think you can find a less athletic quarterback than Mac Jones besides like Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
And Joe Flacco actually had his best year in the Kubiak offense.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He's probably like slightly
one of his
more
2
niche
best
back
years.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Because they were talking about
season.
why Kyle Shanahan would like Mac Jones. That was the argument.
Yeah. I think the longer they've had the pick now, so it's been a couple weeks since they've had the 3rd overall pick.
Right.
The more convinced I am that they're gonna pick Fields. I think it's possible they moved up to number 3 without fully knowing who they were going to take.
Maybe. I like that 49ers just kind of got some balls, which I like.
They do.
When they want to do something, they just go for it. They did it with Garoppolo. They're doing it in the draft here.
Traded down 1 spot with the Bears.
Yeah, like those are some savvy moves. Stacked basically their defensive line with all their first picks, and it kind of eventually paid off.
Traded DeForest Buckner too.
Yep. And then I saw Cecil Lammey tweet today that the 49ers offered the Jets their first rounder for Sam Darnold. But the Jets were they were wanting to see Zach Wilson first before they made the decision because they didn't know about his shoulder injury or something.
I don't know about that. I don't want to call out anybody's reporting ability.
Let me read the tweet. Let me read the tweet.
Yeah, read it off. Maybe it sounds a little better.
Let's see here.
Verbatim.
Yeah, I'm bad at What might have been. League sources tell me Jets turned down 49ers first-round pick for Sam Darnold earlier this offseason. Joe Douglas and company had concerns about Zach Wilson's shoulder, wanted to see his pro day. Now super confident and he will likely be the number 2 pick.
I mean, the only way that makes sense to me is it's not the 49ers first-round pick this year, which would have been 12th. They're counting on it to be their first-round pick next year, 2022, when they would expect the 49ers to be better and in the 20s. And at that point, they might expect the Panthers to be, a lower second-round pick or higher second-round pick, so like closer to the 30s. That's the only way that makes sense for me, because you're not passing up the 12th pick. And if you did, then you're, they're off to a bad start if that's the case. But something there doesn't quite add up to me. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty locked. Lawrence, Wilson. And then, I mean, if I were the 49ers, I'm taking Justin Fields over Mac Wilson, but that's just me. And I wouldn't be moving up to take Trey Lance. So Fields or Mac Wilson there. Again, I want to try to circle back to this, but what are the Falcons at 4?
Right. Yeah, so the Falcons are at 4, and their GM, Terry Fontenot, who the Broncos almost hired this last offseason, or after the season, was being interviewed, and he was saying something about wanting to stack quarterbacks. So they what do you call it? Refinancing their deal, restructuring Matt Ryan's deal. They did a refi on it. No, they restructured Ryan's deal to the point where people thought there's no way you can move off them. But given these comments, it sounds like he would be okay with just taking a quarterback and seeing what happens. And maybe he has to sit on the bench for a couple of years. Maybe not. Maybe you just play the best guy and try to trade Ryan. Who knows? But you have to wonder at this point whether that was calculated to drive up the price for the 4th overall pick, or if it's true.
Right.
Because there's it makes a lot of sense still for Atlanta to take a quarterback, I think.
It's a 50-50, I think.
It probably depends, too, on who the 49ers are going to take.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you just wait to trade out of that pick until you see who San Francisco takes, right? If your guy falls, then you take him. But at the 4th spot, you can really get a player who will make your team better. And if you have a quarterback like Matt Ryan, you've got a couple-year window left. You've got offensive weapons there. You know what you need to do to try and compete. So to me, it doesn't make sense to take a quarterback when I think you can get honestly, you could probably get 4 more years out of Matt Ryan. But let's just say conservatively 2 more years. Like, I'm not on board with trying to replace a top 10 QB early when you can still improve your team. And if you move back a little bit, you can get those picks later and still get an impact player. And it's just like, we saw like the Packers with Jordan Love could have maybe found a piece to help them this last season.
I think they probably could have.
And, it's just, I think it's like, I wouldn't draft a quarterback if I were Atlanta. I would either take whoever the fuck I wanted at 4, because you were literally, if 3 quarterbacks go in front of you, you have the chance to get the best player at any position you want, whether that's, Kyle Pitts, whether that's the best tackle in the draft, the best whatever. Like, you could get actually probably the second best player in the entire draft at 4.
You could.
So
yeah, absolutely.
But I was really hoping that you set up your joke there, but you didn't. Falcons GM Terry Fontenot saying he wants to stack quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Who would be the best fit on top of Matt Ryan? Oh, I was waiting for the joke.
Damn, it worked in writing. I wasn't confident that it was going to translate on the podcast. Yeah, the joke, of course, is like saying you want to stack quarterbacks is just compiling a lot of quarterbacks. But I was thinking about like a game of Tetris.
Yeah,
with quarterbacks,
stacking them.
Yeah, stacking cups.
I think you blew an opportunity there.
But yeah, it was a little bit of a missed opportunity. But I'd tell you what I would do if I were the Falcons. I think I would trade down with the Broncos. Let's just say the Broncos. And then I'd take either whoever's there out of Pitts at 9. Pitts. You can take Sewell, maybe, if he's there. Can take Jamar Chase.
Wide
receiver. You can take Devontae Smith. You could take Patrick Surtain, J.C. Horn, whichever one of the cornerbacks you like. And then you'll probably get a second-round pick out of that, so then you can take another position you want. And in the second round, if you really want to stack quarterbacks, but there's no reason you're going to play them early because you have Matt Ryan, why not take a developmental guy in the second round like Kyle Trask, Davis Mills, Jamie Newman, one of those guys? That makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, Kellen Mond. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah. Nobody's
Try
really
again for a quarterback the next 2 years if you think Ryan can play 3 or 4 more years, which I really think he can.
Yeah. He's like, there's no part of his game that's
kind of decline.
Severely dropped. Yeah. He did take a lot of sacks last year, I think, more than you'd like. So maybe that's why you go offensive line and then secondary. Falcons secondary needs help. You know what? Sure. You don't need help is with DraftKings Sportsbook. Will basketball teams are entering the final month of the regular season as they gear up for the playoffs. While some teams are locks to make the playoffs, others are still fighting for their opportunity to chase the trophy this summer. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is putting you in the center of the action with a chance to turn $1 into $100 in free bets. Turning $1 into $100 is simple. Pick any basketball team to win their next game, and if during that game the team of your choosing hits a 3, you bring home $100 in free bets. This year, teams have been hitting threes at an unprecedented pace, so get in on all of the action at DraftKings Sportsbook before this offer ends. DraftKings is safe, it is secure, it is reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. So download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code DNVR when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free bets if the basketball team of your choosing hits a 3. That's code DNVR to turn $1 into $100 in free bets for a limited time. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Got to be 21. Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Well done.
Which team is the worst at three-pointers?
That's a good question that I can figure out in about 5 seconds. 3-point percentage. I'm going to say it is. I'm going to just go ahead and tell you right now. It's not the Nuggets. In fact, it is the LA Clippers are the best. Milwaukee right behind them. Be the Cleveland Cavaliers at 33.7%.
Wow.
My Sacramento Kings are 35.8%. And the Nuggets are 38.5%, which is fifth best.
Fifth worst? Fifth best?
Fifth best.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
All right. So, Broncos were at Ohio State Pro Day. There's a picture of Pat Shurmur on Twitter looking very, very happy.
He was smiling.
Honestly, I was gonna give, he had a mask on, but you could tell he was smiling. I was gonna give him some credit, some love, because it looked like he was wearing his shirt with like 2 buttons undone, but then he had like another tan shirt underneath, so it wasn't like he was just rocking the chest. And he blew it again. He blew another chance to impress me.
Missed opportunities.
I mean. So he was either happy at how great this corner looked as an offensive coordinator. He either loved what the corner was doing, or somebody just told a joke, or he's high on Justin Fields. I don't know.
I think getting high on Justin Fields seems like it just sounds like
a Beatles song.
Sounds like a hell of a drug. Yeah, it really does.
Getting high.
Just hearing
Justin Fields.
John Lennon's voice right now.
Yeah.
And Justin Fields. Turn that into a parody song. We'll pitch it to Weird Al if he's even doing anything anymore. I'm not sure he is.
Money?
Yeah. I think with the tan shirt and not the open shirt tells me is not a Minshew guy.
Ooh,
a Minshew
you're probably
guy
right.
Would have a couple buttons undone.
Oh, he definitely would. That's the thing. Okay, let's talk about Minshew just for a second here, because he posted some more sexy photos of himself. He got his mullet cleaned up. He's doing some deep V unbuttoned buttons, really like trying to flaunt his man body. And this basically makes men react in one of 2 ways on Twitter. Either you're all about it, you get that it's cool to embrace his sexuality because he's kind of weird, right? It's like he's just doing his own thing. I think most guys want to do that. They just don't have the balls to do it or whatever. Or you see it and you're like, what the fuck's this guy doing? What's this shit? I don't want some mullet dude showing his chest to be my quarterback. And that's basically the response I've gotten when retweeting that stuff is people are all about it, or they're calling you crazy for finding what he's doing cool. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. No, it makes perfect sense. I think if you're in the latter camp and you're almost pissed off by it, and you return to the mirror and take a look in your eye and just chill out.
I think you've got some repressed feelings there.
Yeah, I think you probably had a bad experience while you're watching Joe Dirt.
Yeah,
is the answer to that.
Oh, did you see Brandon Marshall respond to my Nick Bosa tweet?
Yeah, yeah, I did. We need to figure out if we're gonna get like a player on the draft podcast again, or draft stream, or if we're doing a draft stream. It's coming. We are.
So what's gonna happen is we'll do clickbait sports before the draft, I believe, and then you and I will go live during the draft. And try to get some guests to come in and out.
I think so too. I think it's because it's a long first round. We did the whole first round last year.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours.
It was fun. It was a good time. Yeah, I think I ordered Uber Eats at the end of it.
Yeah, no, it's long for sure.
It's fun. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what because last year Brandon McManus called the pick. Which that's right. It wasn't like a surprise, but he called Jerry Jeudy before it happened.
Yeah. I bet he'll come back on. I'll tell him we won't say anything weird that makes him uncomfortable this time. And then I'll say something weird to make him uncomfortable.
Yeah. That's why we also didn't say anything bad about the Broncos' decision not to go to OTAs.
And that's why I've never said anything bad about Brandon McManus.
Yeah, want him back. We could get Shelby Harris, I bet.
Oh, Shelby might hop on.
Seems pretty interesting. And we got to get guys who aren't going to get actively replaced in the first round. That's the key. So, like, no cornerbacks.
Let's get Bryce Callahan on here.
They take Patrick
Drew Lock. Oh, you had Drew Lock on your podcast while the Broncos drafted Justin Fields.
That would be terrible. But
it'd be so good for my views, though, baby.
Good. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, so Shelby Harris, obviously safe. McManus, I don't think they're going to pull Raiders and draft Janikowski in the first round.
No.
Yeah, I think – yeah, we'll see. Dalton Risner seems like he's down to just drop secret information whenever he wants.
Yeah, the Peyton Manning mentoring Drew Lock thing.
Yeah. I don't know if that was supposed to slip.
Yeah, it's like we talked about it in today's episode. It's one of those things that it's also like the players not wanting to do anything in April. I don't take a lot of stock in mentoring.
I don't either. But people do it. It creates a story.
I assume like Drew Lock is doing things to try and get better at playing quarterback during the offseason. I also know he doesn't have to be doing that every single day of the offseason. Like maybe you do like a, I don't know, hour game tape study, you do your workouts. Well, I guess I'm saying like I don't expect him to be doing that all day every day. I think people, when they see quarterbacks, young ones doing anything other than trying to be a quarterback during the offseason, especially people in the media, they try to paint a picture that guy isn't trying to get better. And I don't think that's true. I don't think anybody's really questioned Drew Lock's work ethic. Maybe just like young, immature a little bit, where you got to learn, and not immature in a bad way. It's just like you got to learn what it means to be an NFL quarterback and how to work that way. And that takes a little bit of time, but I don't think Peyton Manning can transfer his knowledge to another person because Peyton Manning was special. So I think Peyton Manning could teach 100 NFL quarterbacks everything he knows, and maybe one of them would really like walk away as a changed, better quarterback. But most guys, if they're dumb like I am, they ain't going to get that knowings from Peyton Manning just by learning from him a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen what like really bad work ethic looks like. And I'm talking about Jamarcus Russell taking blank tapes home and saying he watched them.
Yeah.
Or like on our own team, Paxton Lynch going home and studying Madden instead of the real playbook.
Yeah.
So,
and to be fair,
as long as you're not like either of those two guys, I feel pretty good.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I hope it helps some, but I don't think it'll be a difference maker. If Drew Lock has a great season, Peyton Manning's going to get a lot of credit now, though, which is great.
I mean,
Peyton.
Anything
of the best, that helps Peyton, I support.
Some of the best QB coaches out there right now are Jordan Palmer, who never threw a touchdown in the NFL, and John Beck, who like barely started a few games.
And probably like a former wide receiver.
He was a Mormon. So I don't know if that tells you, actually. I just like to throw that in. He went to BYU.
He knows how to study, Will.
He knows how to study. That's what it tells me.
Anything? Oh, Aaron Donald fight. Let's end with that. Because, boy, the people's reaction on Twitter shouldn't surprise me, but it always does. The amount of people just roasting this guy for trying to fight Aaron Donald in a situation where it didn't seem like this guy started the fight. Don't know for sure. maybe get some more details. But guy allegedly gets beat up by Aaron Donald pretty bad.
The
And
picture looks not very good.
Yeah.
You can see it on Twitter.
It's that guy's fault. And part of the report was that Aaron Donald and some of his friends beat the guy up outside of the club after they got thrown out of the club. And then it started because the guy ran into him, which I was talking about in the episode. And I talked about like being in bars where you run into somebody. It happens a lot. Usually like two guys.
All the time. Happened to me last weekend.
Yeah. Sorry, bro. Okay, whatever. Or it's like, sorry, bro. And the dude just like stares you down.
What? Yeah.
Or like,
usually like,
where you go,
that
bitch?
usually happens when a guy, like you said in the video, is like striking out with girls and needs to like his T levels are through the roof.
Yeah.
And he's got to he has to have an outlet for that aggression. Or he's with a girl that like he wants to impress. And he's like, the manly thing is not to be like, oh no, you're good, dude. Which is, what I do every single time. And I'm sure that you do as well. I actually I was at a bar a while ago, over a year ago, where it was super packed. And these two girls started fighting. Like in between, there's these booths and then there's the bar and kind of a narrow space in between them. And I get caught in between these two girls that are fighting. So I back up, and the only place I'm like wedged against one of the booths. And there's a guy on either side of the booth. And one of the guys is like, I like turn to him. I'm like, hey man, I'm sorry for bumping into you, like, or being like wedged against you. Like these, you can see what's going on. And the first guy is like, oh, don't worry, man. And the other guy is just like, get out of my face, dude. Get out of my face. And I'm like, you realize there's nothing I can do. I don't want my nose pressed against your smelly ass armpits here.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in this situation.
No,
so,
it's when I read about it. It just like
you have a small dick. So
yeah, when I read about it, it reminded me of college so much. I didn't hang out with guys who tried to start fights. Well, one of our friends would. He started yelling at a guy because he didn't like his bicycle shorts. But it's just like there's always those guys at the bar, and you just don't want to run into them because no matter what you try to do, they're wanting to fight. And I mentioned in the video, like I was decent at talking my way out of those situations, but also because I'm small. Like it's easy for me to not run into guys. Like I was the type of guys like, I'll go get us the drinks because I'll just snake through all these people. The real issue is when you run into a guy's girlfriend.
Oh,
that's when shit gets dicier even more quickly, especially if that girlfriend is crazy drunk. You know what I mean? Like where she starts making a deal.
Starts like screeching, like,
yeah.
What did you do? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
My voice isn't there right now.
And the thing I was going to put in the episode was like, you're usually okay if you bump into a guy, but you don't spill his drink. If you spill his drink and you don't immediately offer to take care of his drink, then problems can arise. Yeah,
especially definitely with Aaron Hernandez. So on the Aaron scale, you would rather bump into Aaron Donald and get your eye just totally fucked as opposed to Aaron Hernandez.
Don't run into an Aaron at a bar.
Yeah. Unless you want to run into, I bet Aaron Rodgers is cool.
Yeah.
He's so sure of himself, I think, that
he doesn't need to fight somebody.
Yeah, no, if you spilled his drink, as long as you said sorry, he'd say like no problem. He'd buy himself a new drink and he'd probably buy you one.
Yeah. No, and that's the other thing that happens sometimes. Some dudes like overcompensating for shit, and you talk them down, and then they end up being your friends for the rest of the night. We've done that where guys wanted to fight you, and then somehow you just remind everybody you're all drunk and everything's fine. It's like, dude, I'm just drunk. And they're like, oh yeah, me too. I don't want to fight you. I just want to keep drinking.
Yeah, I find that like if you give people just like a second to reflect on their behavior and not get caught up in the moment,
yeah,
then they'll always just like kind of back down.
Yeah, it's when you got two aggressive dudes.
Yeah,
two aggressive dudes.
I've never been. I also don't like. I'm not like, I'm not Aaron Donald or anything, but I'm like over 6 feet.
Yeah, I wouldn't try to fight you.
Probably. I don't know. Like I've never fought anyone, so
yeah.
I have no confidence that I'd win in a fight against anybody. But I think people like see just a taller person and generally want to steer clear.
Yeah. I go, let's settle this on the foosball table, bitch.
Let's foos about it.
Want to foos, motherfucker?
Foos flash.
The question was, is there anybody in the NFL you would want to fight less than Aaron Donald? Yeah.
It would have to be, who's the tight end for the Chargers who's like 6'9"?
Donald Parham?
Donald Parham. Yeah, that'd be tough because I bet he has just crazy reach.
Yeah.
He would just box you into infinity, I bet.
Just hold you away. And
Andy Janovich.
Ooh.
Would not want to fight
fullbacks. I wouldn't fuck with the fullback.
He's got like that wrestling background.
Yeah. I was thinking
that's what I would think of.
Yeah. I mean, DK Metcalf has the intimidating look.
Mm-hmm.
So like I wouldn't want to start a fight with him. I think Quentin Nelson would scare me a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And Ndamukong Suh scares me. That's a guy who
for sure
tried to break Aaron Rodgers' leg, stomped Aaron Rodgers' leg in front of a guy who will do that to Aaron Rodgers in plain sight. I wouldn't want to get.
He'll do it to you. He'll do worse.
Yeah, those guys scare me a little bit. And probably like, who's a tiny guy in the NFL? I don't want to fight the smallest guy in the NFL who can hang with all of the big dudes, because maybe it's a little misleading. Like you think you have a chance, which probably ends up worse for you.
I would agree. Like you would not want to fight Darren Sproles.
Yeah, no.
He's built like a tank.
Maurice Jones-Drew back in the day, wouldn't want to fight that guy.
Nope.
He took Sean Merriman out.
The only thing, can you name a player you could fight or you would fight?
Oh, Tom Brady.
That's a good point.
I would fight him. I'm not saying I would win, but I would like if I got offered money to fight him in a boxing match, like those Logan Paul bullshit things, I'd fight Tom Brady. I'm not scared of him. And I think most quarterbacks could probably knock me out with one punch because their arms have probably just an insane amount of torque.
How about Rodrigo Blankenship?
Nah. Those glasses, man.
He's got those glasses, yeah.
Feel like he's got a superpower hidden in there.
Maybe. He seems like he'd fight dirty.
Trying to think, who's like a receiver who always looking for a flag?
I was gonna say like someone who's just like really skinny, like Deshaun Jackson is like the only guy like you feel like you'd have like a huge weight advantage over, or at least I would. But then again, like you hear the rumors about gang affiliation too.
Yeah, you don't want to fight Deshaun.
No.
I'd fight Cody Parkey.
Yeah.
And any of the players who are like outwardly very, very religious.
I'd fight Eli Manning.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, because I guess I would fight Russell Wilson then.
Yeah.
Because they had if they're going to be very into Jesus, they have to be willing to turn the other cheek, which means they have to just accept that I'm going to punch them and not retaliate. So
that's a good point.
And I think Russell Wilson pretty strong, but I would fight him.
Not the tallest guy.
No, he's thick. He's probably got some.
Drew Brees. Should fight him.
I'd fight Drew Brees
factor.
for sure.
Christian factor. He's not thick.
Couple body shots.
He's not very tall either. Yeah.
I of course would fight none of them. Not even Tom Brady. I like to pretend like I would do it, but we all know I'm a coward. Anyway, thanks for listening to the Joe Rogan Fight Companion podcast here on YouTube. Subscribe to us on wherever you listen to podcasts, and we're going to be back Friday, Will. We're going to do 2 this week.
Oh, boy.
2. That's news to you. We got to probably do it earlier in the day. I'm going to go get my first shot Friday at 1, so we'll figure that out. Good night and good luck.
ACL.